These days, Germany is home to many different kinds of sausages ranging from liver sausages to blood sausage, Dachshund sausages, and Thuringian sausages. German potato salad, often accompanied by white sausage like the Nürnberger Rostbratwurst, complements these offerings perfectly. These sausages are typically made from pork belly, finely ground with sweet mustard, mustard seed, and a sprinkle of white pepper to enhance their flavors. German sausages are an integral part of German culture and cuisine, brought over by German immigrants who've added their own touch to local dishes. The fat content varies, but Bavarian sausage, known for its coarse texture, embodies the essence of traditional German food. In the Swabian region, the coarse sausage is a culinary treasure, using ground veal and black pepper for a distinct taste. All these types of sausages have their own specialties and flavors that make them stand out from each other. For a taste of authenticity, try the roll with mustard, a classic combination often enjoyed in German cities like Stuttgart. German sausages have found their way into various cuisines, even making appearances in places like Milwaukee County Stadium, where a simple yet delightful offering of a crusty roll with German sausage became a beloved concession staple. Bratwurst sausage is a pork sausage that is typically made from ground meat, salt, pepper, and garlic. This sausage has its origins in Western Europe, where it was first made by German butchers who used to create this type of food during winter when there was a lack of meat. The name bratwurst comes from the Old High German word brat, which translates to roasted, and the word wurst, which means sausage. Bratwurst has been around for centuries and is one of the most popular types of sausage in Germany. Do you know what is the difference between High and Low German? This type of sausage is often served as part of a traditional breakfast with boiled potatoes, sauerkraut, hard-boiled eggs, or wheat bread. In addition to being a common dish on its own, it can also be used as an ingredient in other dishes such as sauerkraut with bratwurst or potato soup with bratwurst. Metzger, a butcher, by that name invented the Frankfurter Würstchen sausage in 1857 and made it popular throughout Germany and Central Europe. The original recipe consisted of a combination of pork shoulder meat with beef trimmings and spices such as garlic powder, nutmeg, coriander seed, and pepper bratwurst. One of the most famous of German sausages, second only to the Frankfurter Würstchen, the bratwurst, aka brat, is typically made from veal, beef or pork. The recipe for the actual sausage varies from region to region and has, to date, over 40 varieties. Hoffmann Sausage Company, born in Germany, raised in New York, since 1879. Home of the German Frank, Snappy Griller, all-beef dog, and more. Our sausage masters are busy all year long making some of the tastiest products around, including a variety of hot dogs, sausages, beef jerky, hunter sticks, and condiments. Grilled sausage, basic technique. This is a weeknight grilling recipe, but just barely. It takes 30 to 45 minutes, end to end, counting preheating the grill. But most of that time is hands off, because I cook the sausage over indirect heat, so there are no flare-ups. A quick browning at the end and the sausage are ready. Also, because sausage is already stuffed with flavor, there is no other prep work. I take the sausage out of its packaging and put it directly on the grill. Grilling sausage is not easy. Cooking a sausage all the way through before it burns on the outside is tricky, and flare-ups from dripping fat make it even harder, if you cook them over direct heat. Sausages are a prime candidate for sear roasting on the grill. Start them over indirect heat, and leave them there until they are cooked through. Then, brown the sausage quickly over direct heat to finish. If the grill is hot enough, you can skip the browning step. On my charcoal grill, 20 minutes of indirect heat is enough time to brown the sausage and cook it through. Understanding exactly what a food is and what it normally is made up of can help. A sausage is a meat product made using ground meat, encased in a skin, and will typically also include herbs, spices, salt, a filler or binder, such as wheat, rice or flour, and possibly preservative. Sausages will range in meat volume between approximately 60 to 90%. The ground meat used can be beef, chicken, pork or venison. In vegetarian sausages, soy is often used as a non-meat alternative. The higher quality the sausage is normally based on how much ground meat is used compared to the fillers and or preservatives. We want to aim for a high meat percentage, ideally around 75 to 80%. Nutritionally, a food which is around 70 to 80% ground meat, it is fairly nutritious. It is obviously not the same as eating meat in its whole form, such as steak, for example. However, this still means it provides important nutrients such as protein, iron, especially those using ground red meat, B12 and fat. In both my books The Nourished Baby and The Nourished Toddler, I talk about the benefits of fat, including saturated fat. There is considerable debate at the moment around the volume of meat we should be having. This is probably a blog in itself in order to do the topic justice. What I will say is that I see all too often women getting nowhere near their protein requirements, and that toddlers can also struggle a lot with meat and high iron foods. In my critical assessment of this debate, I believe there are a lot of individual factors that need to be taken into account, and the blanket low recommend amounts of meat is potentially doing more damage to vulnerable populations like toddlers and women who need, and are at risk of low intake of, adequate protein and iron. Boiling the sausages. Boiling a sausage will make the sausage look quite different compared to fried or grilled sausages. Boiling will not create a sear on the surface of the sausages, so it can be hard to tell whether or not the sausages are done if you're not experienced with this method. To start, get a pot and fill it with liquid. You can use regular tap water to boil your sausages, but this can render the meat a bit flavorless. To add a bit more flavor, try boiling the sausages in chicken or vegetable stock or even water mixed with wine. Boiling may not be the ideal cooking method for all sausages. Instead, boiling is best for sausages that contain very finely ground meat. Be sure that the water is at a high boil before you add the sausages, otherwise, the sausages may get soggy if the water isn't hot enough yet. Then, reduce the heat so that the boil isn't as aggressive. The cooking time will depend on what kind of sausages you're dealing with. If the sausages are already cooked, you may only need to boil them for a few minutes. This will ensure that the insides are hot and delicious. If the sausages are not cooked, you will need to cook them for a longer period of time, usually around a half hour. After some time, take the sausages out and press on them to see if they're done. If they're cooked, they should be firm to the touch. All about boiling sausages. You can also try cutting one of them in half. Again, the inside of the sausage should not contain any pink. Instead, it should be brown all the way through. Once the sausages are done cooking, they will be ready to eat. As mentioned before, boiling sausages isn't ideal if you want the sausages to have a lot of flavor. However, there is a simple way to add more flavor to boiled sausages: fry them. Dry the boiled sausages and then put them in a pan of hot oil. Since they are already cooked, you won't need to fry them for very long.